Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. It's Monday, November 9, 2020. Ito po si Benji Chidoro inviting you to join me as I take on the latest news affecting your stocks. Meron tayong balita on Ayala Corporation and SM. Gayon din naman yung plano ng Robinsons sa kanilang REIT offering at ang resulta ng trading sa PSE. Lahat ng yan dito lamang sa November 9, 2020, Monday edition ng The Stock Market Today. Bago po ang lahat, basahin po muna natin ang ating reminders at disclaimers. At habang binabasa po natin ito, kung first time niyo po dito sa ating channel, ay nag-start po ako magbigay ng daily stock market report noong August. Inaanyayahan ko po kayo na mag-subscribe sa aking channel para palagi po tayong updated sa balita at impormasyon tungkol sa stock market at ang mga active stocks sa merkado. Salamat po at tignan po muna natin ang ating mga balita. Mula sa business world, Robinsons Land plans REIT offering in 2021. So alam po natin na nauna na po ang Ayala Land sa kanilang REIT and it is now being traded in the PSE. At ngayon naman si Robinsons Land. RLC is forming a real estate investment trust company for some of its office assets with plans for its listing at the stock exchange next year. To create further opportunities for growth, RLC is looking to list a REIT company for some of its office assets in calendar year 2021. It plans to infuse a significant number of its existing office buildings into the new REIT company, it said in a statement last Friday. The Gokongwei-led property developer currently has 25 office buildings in its portfolio, equivalent to more than 600,000 square meters of net leasable area. If it successfully lists, RLC would be the second company to do a REIT offering in the Philippines, following Ayala Land Inc.'s listing of a REIT last August. And the second item on the news is from Philstar, conglomerates willing to cut profit for shared prosperity. And you see here a picture of Hansi, the chairman of SM Investments. Two of the country's biggest conglomerates are willing to slash profits for shared prosperity. As you can see, Ayala Corporation and SM are not doing well in terms of their earnings this year because of the pandemic. In a virtual meeting last week organized by the Management Association of the Philippines titled Convocation for Shared Prosperity, Ayala Corp Chairman Jaime Augusto Zobel de Ayalas and SM Prime Holdings Inc.'s Executive Chairman Hans C. said lower profits are no longer an issue in this time of COVID-19. We are willing to do that. In fact, we are already doing that, C said in response to a question raised during the MAP online forum. If businesses are willing to slash profits to achieve shared prosperity for all, he said the SM Group has kept its workers employed despite the negative impact on businesses and have significantly reduced rent in its malls. Zobel shared the same view. I'm completely aligned with Hans. If you're going to help, it must be done. Everybody, one way or another, has already suffered. So it's not an issue for us. We already sacrificed a lot. Frankly, I don't think it's an issue. In all, Sobel called on private companies to reevaluate their role in society and contribute to the country's recovery. So let's now take a look at what happened to the exchange. Last Friday, we had a doji as a candlestick of the PSEI, and the doji is an uncertain candlestick. And it looked like a sign of reversal. However, we have now a small green candlestick, actually, in spite of net foreign selling. I wouldn't say this is a recovery, but the index barely moved, actually. Kasi 0.16 lang yung points. It's not even 1 point. It's 0.16 or 100 of a point. Or, in fact, kung percentage change yung pag-uusapan, it's 0. And there was net foreign selling. So, the index is flat. Now, since there was heavy foreign outflows, na-negate yung mga inflows ng local traders. So it's still a toss-up of what will happen tomorrow. But with the good news coming in from the US, like I think Wall Street is doing fine, and there is a new president, and everything is looking good for in the US on the US side. Then I suppose the PSEI will continue to move, either move sideways or it may move up. So this doji, we will find out in a few days, or we will find out either tomorrow or the following days if the PSEI will continue to move up. Okay, so let's take a look at the summary. 131 companies advanced, 83 declined, while 43 remained unchanged. Total volume was 1.71 billion, valued at 8.02 billion. There was net foreign selling at 394 million. As for the market indices, the holding companies registered a decline of 1.27%, while the other indices registered advances. Mining particularly had a 3.16% increase, then followed by the industrials. But the PSEI barely moved. No? It ended flat at 0.16, not even 1 point, less than a point up. The all-share indices, on the other hand, moved 16.4 points up, or 0.42% increase. Okay, so let's now take a look at the most active stocks. Okay, so let's review the following. Let's take a look at DITO, SMPH, BTO, PureGold. Then let's take a look at MPI, GTCAP, Merrimart, MAC, ACEN, and APX. So let's take a look first at the first stock, DITO. Okay, DITO had a decline today, 3.76% or 0.23 points down from the previous close. Net foreign selling of 4.35 million. So it's just actually moving sideways. And the support, I see it at 5.38. It ended actually in the red, but it opened up at 6.17. So sideways lang siya. And without a catalyst, I expect the stock to move that way. So this is the support at 5.38 to 5.40. And the resistance, I see at pinakamalapit niya is 6.85 or 6.9. Yan yung pinakamalapit na resistance niya. So, maaaring dyan lang siya mag-move in the meantime. Let's take a look at SMPH. SMPH had a solid green candlestick, and at one time it had a low of 34.10, but there was net foreign buying at 73.6. So, tingnan natin yung resistance nito. Kasi SMPH appears to be inching up further. No? So, yung earnings niya, it had a 53% decline on their third quarter earnings. I think the comparison here is the second quarter or the quarter last year. Okay, so kung titingnan natin ang nearest resistance ni SM, ang nearest resistance niya, well, it continues to move up because of the opening up of the economy. But the nearest resistance, ito na 38, 38.60, 39.57, 39.60, I would say is the nearest resistance. No, I think that would be the second resistance. I see another resistance here at 36.80. So siguro ito yung pinakamalapit na resistance next, pagkatapos ng 8.39 na yung next resistance niya. So it may just move within this level. And if it continues to move up, it may encounter resistance at 36.80 to 36.90. So that's SMPH. And RSI is at 69, almost 70. Let's see if there is a trend in directional movement index. 33.19. So based on the DMI, if the DMI or the directional movement index is above 30, then I would say that there is a trend, a bullish trend on SMPH. So it will continue to move up. So there is a slight increase in volume. So I would say that SM would be moving up in the coming days. Pero just be ready, no? When you're a trader, kailangan meron po tayong stop loss, and before you trade, you have to have a trading plan. By the way, I use a 20-day exponential moving average as my short-term indicator. This is represented by the orange line. The 50-day exponential moving average as my medium-term indicator, represented by the blue line. And the 100-day exponential moving average is my long-term indicator, represented by the black line. I also use the relative strength index and the directional movement index, which I used earlier at the DMI, as additional confirmatory indicators. So after SM, let's take a look at BDO. BDO is another index stock. Pero lately, it has just been moving sideways. And if you see the stock, malaki yung potential ng stock nito. And what I've been saying in the past few days is that it hasn't reached its full potential yet. Nandito lang siya sa 92. Kasi it reached a low of here, nasa March. It reached a low of 75. And now it's just at 92. So I guess the earnings is affected, but just the same, mahusay na stock itong BDO because the management is very good. As a stock, I wouldn't be afraid to invest in BDO. Okay, so the nearest resistance of BDO is here, mga 97.9 or mga 98, and the nearest support is here, 88.50. Yan yung nearest support niya. So, without a catalyst, maaaring mag-move sideways lang siya. Ito, may magandang news siya dito eh. Yung kanyang trust units, yung assets under management, nag-1 trillion na, milestone yan sa isang bangko. Okay, so let's take a look at PureGold. PureGold continues to move down. I wonder why. Nasa support level na ito eh. Pero it reached, double bottom na siya. Pero hopefully, they should bounce because PureGold is a very good stock. Mahusay din ang management ito. Okay, so it's just moving within this level. And I suppose, let's draw a box. So it may just move within this area. The resistance is at about 43.90, while the support is at 41.20. No, so maaaring dyan lang mag-move yan. Pero it reached already a 52-week high here noong August. Nag-54 siya. Ito lang. And I just wonder why PureGold is not doing so well right now. Maaaring nagpapahinga lang yung stock. Well, technically, it may just move within support and resistance without a major catalyst. So tingnan mo, yung revenue niya, it's not bad naman. 1.65 billion or 4.24% lower. That's not, well, actually, it's still a good earnings statement. Okay. So, let's take a look next at Merrimart. Baka may magandang balita tayo kay Merrimart. Yeah, may magandang balita na. Now, Merrimart continues to move up. And, is this a breakout? Masyadong, well, maaring breakout ito dahil may above average volume plus the increase is it reached a high of 4.17, and this is the highest since its IPO. Kasi it reached a high of noong January, nung nag-IPO, high niya is 450. So nasa 440 na siya. Well, I would say this is a breakout but not a major breakout. No? So maaring it's just a solid green candlestick with above average volume. And you see, historically, ang next resistance niya is, ito na yung high nito 550. Yan. 547, 550 yan yung next resistance niya. Pero if you'll draw a trend line, kasi, pataas siya Hindi, channel na lang i-draw natin. I-parallel channel. Yan pataas si Merrimart And then our indicators. Our indicators are moving up also, yung 20-day EMA and the 50-day EMA, at meron ng 100 EMA, which is right under the candlestick. And there was net foreign buying. So, what do I expect the stock? Okay, it may probably move higher in the coming days because of a strong trend. Let's take a look at the DMI. DMI is 28, still moving sideways, but the RSI, balik natin, is 80. Okay, so since yung DMI niya is just below 30, then maaring ang mangyari dito is either mag-consolidate or mag-move higher siya. Kasi ano ito maaring nasa oversold level na siya. Unless magkaroon ng another green candlestick at yung DMI ay maging above 30, then we have a solid trend upwards. So in the meantime, if you see a solid green candlestick the following day, confirmation yun na pataas pa yung stock. However, if you see a red candlestick, then maaring mag-change na yung trend. But because of the above average volume, mas malamang na mag-proceed pa siya higher. Okay, next, let's take a look at GTCAP. Okay, GTCAP continues to move higher. And there was a breakout noong November 4, and the breakout continues. So kung nakakuha kayo dito, congratulations. And there is no sign that the candlestick is weakening. Although these are short body, nagpatuloy pa siya. If you'll notice, the candlestick body is just the same as the previous day's candlestick. Pero nagsasubside yung volume. So maaring magko-consolidate na ito or mag-pullback ito in the following days. So after the breakout, what happens to the stock is it pulls back, characterized by a consolidation with reduced volume. It may move within a resistance of 535 and may consolidate within the nearest support of, tingnan na natin dito, mga 500. Yan. Baka lang dyan siya maglaro. Because I see this as the shorter candlestick would indicate some sort of a weakness in the stock. And that's how I see it and that's how I see it based on technical analysis. Let's take a look at MPI. MPI, wow. It continues to move higher. Okay? It continues to move higher. It opened at 415 and it's now 420. Dahan-dahan lang siya pero timo, it continues to move upwards. And alam niyo, you can't go wrong with MPI because it's a very stable company. It has many businesses. Toll roads, yan, NLEX, Cavitex, kanila yan. Plus, they have Maynilad, they also have Meralco, they also have Asian Hospital and some other hospitals. Then they also have mining, Felix. So marami silang negosyo. And right now, it's just appropriate na mag-move up sila after consolidating for so long. And if you take a look at the stock, yan, no? Umabot siya ng, I would say, 6. Ano bang high ng stock dito? 7. Umabot siya ng 7 eh. Noong 2016, umabot pa siya ng mga 750. No? Nasa 420 pa lang siya. Maring more than halfway na siya, pero the stock has a lot of potential. No? And makikita niyo information ng candlestick ng indicator natin. Bullish siya. Then let's take a look at the DMI. Okay, it's 35. So it's really bullish. So when the DMI is above 30, then there is a definite bullish direction. Actually, the DMI can tell you if the stock is bullish or bearish. Kung above 30, either bullish or bearish. Pero kung makita mo yung trend ng stock ay pataas, more likely it is a bullish trend. Kung pababa naman, it's a bearish trend. So kung makikita nyo dito, ito bullish trend yan. Kasi obvious ba? Obvious naman yung movement ng stock ng pataas. On the other hand, kung makikita nyo to dito, here, halimbawa, yung movement ng stock nyo dito, ayan, 30, 32 siya, pero pababa, di ba? Pababa yung movement niya. So it's 32.21. Ito pataas eh. How do I see the stock? The next resistance kasi ni MPI is here. 440, 450 is the next resistance level. And I expect the stock to move upwards because of our indicators are pointing upwards, plus the DMI. And the RSI is above 70 right now, but that is just but natural if the DMI is above 30. Okay, next, let's take a look at MAC. Isa pa itong MAC na nagre-recover. Yan, tingnan mo yan. Oops, I think this is another breakout. Yan, 618. And then net foreign buying pa siya. MAC is moving upwards. And meron silang project, di ba, sa Sandy Point. And also, they are in the airline industry where they supply the food for the airlines, no? So ito, maaaring yung next resistance level, I see it here, 737 to 740. Yan yung next resistance level. So maaaring mag-move up pa siya. Tingnan natin yung DMI. The RSI is 74, which is, some would say, oversold. Pero kung DMI pag-uusapan natin, 2862. It appears to be moving sideways pa. But if you'll take a look at our indicators, na yung short, medium, and long are all under the candlestick. And there is, the breakout has a volume. So this may move higher in the coming days, with a 740 as our next resistance. O maaaring 7. Pwede natin ilagay sa 7. And the next resistance after that is 740. So the first resistance level, it will retest the 7 peso level, and the next resistance level will be the 740. And then, si ACEN. ACEN is another stock which I think, yeah, moving up siya, and another breakout for ACEN. I cannot anymore plot the resistance because this is the all-time high already. No, so wala ka nang ipa-plot pang iba kasi na-reach na niya yung highest level eh. Pero, yun natin, will the stock move higher? If you'll see, the RSI is above 70, and by looking at the RSI only, you would say that it is oversold. Let's take a look at the directional movement. 31, almost 32, 3168 to 3169. So I would say there is a bullish momentum here. So I think the stock will move higher, although I don't know what limit will it go, because there is no resistance. Walang resistance pagka you're building, no? You're building a building without a ceiling. So pataas siya ng pataas. Of course, what comes up must go down. Diba? Kaya ACEN, maaring after a huge upward movement, maaring mag-consolidate siya. No, maaaring mag-consolidate siya. But you see, the foreign financial institutions are bullish about the stock. Net foreign buying siya ng almost 1.8 million. Kasi ACEN is the future. ACEN, green, yan. That's the future of energy. Because companies now are doing away with dirty energy, such as oil and coal. And then the buildings now, sustainable energy na rin. Diba? You're not using electricity anymore. Run by oil and coal. You use sunlight na. Or wind, di ba? So yan yung ACEN. Okay, after ACEN, let's take a look at APX. APX is a mining company which they mine gold. No? So the prices will depend on the price of gold. So nag-increase siya ng 0.12 or 6.32%. The nearest resistance, actually, nasa resistance level na ito, si ACEN. So I think it will just be moving within the nearest resistance of 2.7. O pwede na natin sabihin 220 yung nearest resistance niya. The 210 yung nearest resistance, and the next after that is 220. So let's draw a box na. Ito kasi yung pinaka level niya. So, maaaring mag-move lang siya within that level. And baka i-retest niya yung resistance na 210. And in all likelihood, the stock will continue to move up. And I would say it's still bullish because the RSI is 66. So, pataas pa rin yung kanyang RSI. So, that's our stock market report for today. But before we end, let's take a look at kung may pagbabago sa US elections. Actually, si Joe Biden already won. Ito kasi yung count ng New York Times. This is the count of the New York Times. Ito naman ang count ng CNN. So, hindi pa rin nagbago. 279 and 214. If you didn't catch my episode on how the US electoral process works, I already made a video on that last night. Please check it out. And it's very interesting yung how the US electoral process works. sa mga electoral college. So winner take all kasi siya. So if a candidate, a presidential candidate, wins by popular vote in a state, he wins the electoral votes of the states in 48 out of 50 states. So that's the rule, except for Nebraska and Maine. Yan lang yung exception, Nebraska and Maine. Yan po ang ating stock market report today, Monday, November 9, 2020. Dito po si Benji Chodoro, laging nagpapaalala, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. See you again tomorrow at maraming salamat sa inyong pagtangkilik. Bye for now.